All right, this week's episode, we have discussed weddings ending and how much a couple should potentially cover on a wedding. The Queen passing and trying to make the light of it, the light in the situation, I guess. As Goran has his yin and yang shit. There's always some little bits of light in there you can extrapolate. You'll understand what they are if you click through. You know, I'm giving you a bit of clickbait here. Goran also gave us a bit of a story based on blood clots. Not blood clots.
Blood pressure.
Sorry, high blood pressure. Last week was blood clots. High blood pressure, and yeah, Goran hates cyclists. You'll understand why if you jump through. Catch you there. Laters. What's happening, Doctor?
You're doing it again, man. You're not doing the long intro. What's happening, people?
All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to this is episode of Indy Doctor podcast. Goran doesn't like it when I say what's happening, Doctor. So I'm going to say what has been happening, Doctor, and it is... Unfortunately, the Queen passed away. So, big topics to come off this, but Goran, I'll let you take the floor first because I'm going to take it in a very different direction.
So we started the day, and one of my junior doctors actually made a joke. She showed us a meme, and essentially, so the picture that had come out a couple of days before of the Queen with Liz Truss, you could see the Queen's hand, and it was quite badly bruised. So the meme was... who let the F1 is a new doctor, cannulate the Queen? Because obviously new doctors not very...
So nice, got it. Because obviously when you put a cannulator into the hand, the needle...
And so I was a bit like, ha. But then at this point, I didn't really realise that anything was going on. It's like at work, the room I sit in, like there's no TVs as such, and it's not like... I hadn't watched the news that morning, so I
Yeah,
and I think it was 12:30, wasn't it? 12:30 it came out. About the Queen's under medical supervision. Yeah. So this meme we looked at was kind of before that. And then I remember that I took a break that day. And then this is something I found really odd. So obviously the wording. Now medically, the Queen is being kept comfortable is like a term we use when somebody's kind of end of life and palliative. So I wasn't sure like how much they're trying to say or not say there.
Yeah.
And then the reporters are saying, normally they're very private about the Queen's health. So for them to say this is a big thing and everyone's putting the clues together, all the family are traveling, they wouldn't be doing that if it was something very serious. The thing I don't get is all the news presenters were wearing black before it had been announced, including the people doing the sign language.
That was when the writing was on the wall.
Yeah. So I was like, well, but then you had some of the presenters saying, we can't get ahead of ourselves and we just have to wait for any updates, official updates. And I was like, but then why are you all wearing black? Like, surely that means
Nah.
And then
they knew. The way it works is, I'm sure I've sent you this video of seeing how if the Queen were to ever pass away, this is the
operation
protocol that happens. It's like a 5-minute clip that tells you every operation,
London Bridge
or whatever.
That was the name. Yeah, so each of the royals have their own thing.
Yeah, and they'll call saying London Bridge has fallen. And it takes you through the whole steps. And the black suits and black attire is a thing where they're all ready. Everyone has that ready to go.
No, they have it ready. I understand they wear it when...
And they know it's coming.
Obviously, so they've been briefed, haven't they? So they obviously must know. And then obviously the thinking was that they're not announcing it until obviously key members of family are able to see the Queen. Now, whether she's passed at this point and they just want to be in the room and then they want to announce, that was kind of my thinking. And I think actually that's what did happen, but they didn't wait for Harry.
I think so too.
They waited for William, but they didn't wait for Harry. So that was interesting. And obviously they showed that still of I think it's William driving the car and everyone looked quite somber in the car. So I think at that point it's like, okay, I think she has passed, but they're not saying it. But like you said, the writing was on the wall, all the signs are there. So I've been listening to the coverage on the way back and driving home that day, and then we had a guy coming to what was he coming to do? To look at our kitchen floor, and he'd arrived, and then that Shindy's got the notification for BBC when it makes that little do like the and then the guy was like, "Is that the Queen?" That's the first thing he said, and then we looked at it. And he was like, "Yeah, the Queen has passed." I think it's 6:30. That's where we were when we heard it, and it was a thing. And I think the point one of the presenters made was, we've grown up our whole lives with the Queen being a constant. They talk about the 15 prime ministers, and I don't know most of those prime ministers, but growing up, the Queen has been a constant. Like she's just there. 96, you know, she's done pretty well. Where were you when you found out?
I was at home, so we had an idea something was going down with work because we had to prep and think, all right, we've got to pause all marketing activity if this happens.
So who told you that?
Because they always think 2 steps ahead.
PR,
okay. Right? The rumblings came out within senior management that this was happening and going down. So we were like, okay, because we heard she was under medical supervision and everyone was like, she's gone, hasn't she? Like, we were thinking it's a matter of time. Because as soon as you see the black suits, as you said on TV, you know it's a wrap, right? And when that happened and it was announced, we all sat there waiting. We were waiting, logged on until 6. And we said, all right, we'll leave it with management. They'll pause all marketing activity and we'll head off. So we headed off. And then I think it was announced about, 7? Something around that time. And then paused all activity, had that done, and then turned it all back on relatively quickly because people got upset within the company. But yeah, so that happened. And we knew the writing was on the wall and it was all going down really. And it wasn't really a shock. I've heard that apparently entertainment has known about this since June, and they've been prepping all these like videos, obituaries, articles, essentially preempting the time of when she was going to pass away. I don't know how true that is, but that's
very easy to say, obviously, in hindsight. But yeah, you're right. All the stuff that's being played now, I think I was watching Young Elizabeth on ITV. It's quite nice. And the thing for me and Shindy is we finished The Crown this year.
Yeah.
We actually went to Hollywood Palace in April. And because Nani was in a wheelchair, she got... Yeah.
As morbid as it is, I actually might watch it now.
When they would... I mean, they obviously they went all the way back to when she took the throne. Age 25 when she's in Africa. And obviously we relate that exactly. Because we watched the show. We're like, oh, yeah, we know exactly what happened, why it happened. And yesterday, the Queen's body was in Hollywood Palace in Edinburgh, which we went to in April. Nani actually, because she was in a wheelchair, she got to go through a separate access, which only disabled people go through, and obviously the Queen and royal. So she went to the throne room, which is obviously where the body was being held yesterday. So that was it was very surreal this year. It was like, okay, all these things, and yeah. What were you saying? I forgot what you were saying.
Yeah, man. So I was going to take it a bit different because obviously it's a shame that she's passed away, but you can see some of the things that have happened around it. Obviously, it's taken over the news cycle. Everything's gone paused. There's no normal activity. It's essentially been pushed in everyone's agenda. You've got the bank holiday coming. So naturally, everyone's going to try and see the light in these things. And one of the things I noticed was the PR stunts that companies had done. Some of them were pretty
distasteful
out there. So, for example, everyone saw the one that Domino's had done. It wasn't distasteful. I'd say it just didn't look right. It was just put on there, and then without a second thought of what's going to be beneath it or near it. But you see, obviously, Domino's come out. I think I saw Wimpy put something out as a statement, and it's just a bit like, okay, I get it,
but your point is, what's the need?
But what?
Like, is there an expectation from the company?
I don't think there's what's a need. I think. Look, it's cool, man. If you want to pay your commiserations and anything like that, that's fine. The bit that took it a step too far, I understand putting out a post on a social media account. I get it. The next step beyond that is seeing like the header of a website say, "We offer our condolences to Her Majesty the Queen," etc. Now, if you go onto the Boots website, it's still there and it looks okay. It works beneath. When you're looking at fashion companies do it, it looks extremely out of place. As in,
what you mean
so
is
it
because
says at the top,
but it carries on as a normal fashion website, and like they're selling things, and
yes, it carries on like normal.
Okay, so you're feeling it's not consistent.
Yeah, not even that. It's like you got people modeling pictures and outfits beneath, looking really snazzy, and then you've got this somber thing at the top, and I'm like, this does not look good. Like, you should have thought of putting this as a blank front page.
Yeah. You separate it.
But then obviously that kills the conversion rate, so you're not going to do that either.
Yeah, I either don't do it.
So yeah, I think it was,
or like you're saying, do it tastefully and do it in a way where it's what you described there makes it sound like, well, you're just doing it for the wrong reasons. You're doing it for show. You're doing it because you think it's the right thing to do.
It feels like they're doing it just to keep up with what everybody
it
else
seems to
has
be the done thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
and that's not helpful.
it doesn't
at
come
all,
across as genuine. I think that's what it is.
right? Yeah, it comes across very disingenuous, which is a shame. Other thing I wanted to do is talk about some of the TV coverage out there. So obviously you've got the 24-hour news cycle now completely covering everything that's happening about the Queen passing away, all these stories everyone's hearing. But the real primetime TV current is like 3 a.m. in the morning.
Sorry,
when after
you're
the
awake
Queen
because?
passed away. I think Sky News was standing outside Buckingham Palace.
You were awake at that time, were you? Were you awake?
Sorry? No, I wasn't, but I saw the clips the next day.
3
go
a.m.
viral, right?
The day
and
of...
one of the clips was, yeah, 3 a.m. the day of, and obviously the anchor's there. They've obviously gone live to her to get people's reaction because they want to feel the authenticity behind how people are feeling and what they're doing. They didn't think that they'd meet people who are literally off their rocker really high, just taking interviews. And they have to do the interview, and they've started the interview. It's live TV. You can't cut it. So you feel sorry for the anchor who has to carry on the interview with someone who's completely off their face and they're not making any coherent sense. And I'm just like, oh my God, this is so cringe. But equally, I feel so bad for the news anchor because they're getting torpedoed here. And they're just thinking, I've got to make the most out of the situation and just try and make lemonade out of lemons. I feel really bad for them.
I think, look, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. So what do you expect, man? You expecting people to just be reciting poems like, 3 o'clock in the morning? Like, what type of people are going to be there at 3 o'clock in the morning? Either you got people who are waking up early, praying people. Okay, you got that subset. And then you got the people who just haven't gone to sleep. And they just like you said, off their rocker. So, yeah. Grief does grief does funny things to funny people, even though that it sounds like it's not real grief. That was their issue. On that note, I read something really good, which I wrote down, which I'm going to include in my book whenever it gets published. It's said by the Queen, but it was in Prince William's, who's now the Prince of Wales' speech. She said, "Grief is the price you pay for love." I thought that was really on point. I really like that. Just a side point. I thought that was... I was just thinking about, obviously when someone passes away, why is it that you're sad? And trying to understand, because you love them.
Because you love them.
That's exactly what it is.
Or you feel love for the people that are affected.
Yes. That's also true. So, one
last one is the opposite side of the world. So obviously we've spoken about fast fashion, PR companies. Then you've got the underground side of the world, which is not very well known. This is the drug dealers. So what drug dealers did, and this is a news story, 13 minutes after the Queen passed away, I'm going to find the actual thing, right? Okay, 13 minutes after the Queen passed away, they sent out a message to a bunch of people offering discounts on their products. Let me just find it. Hang on.
Would you be selling them too?
It's pretty bad. So here you go. In tribute to the Queen, who's passing away at 96 years old at a time of passing, I will reduce the price of one Bolivian flake to £96 tomorrow and Saturday, guys. And you put like a little clink champagne glass emoji.
It's just so inappropriate. What I will say is, I don't know what that drug is, right? It does sound very nice though. It sounds like some
ketamine.
Bolivian
no,
that sounds like
a Bolivian flake. I think.
Do you know what it sounds like?
Coke.
It sounds like, just listen.
That's Coke.
Listen. I'm not asking what it is. I'm telling you what it sounds like. So, like when you go to McDonald's and they have like a summer menu, right? Like the Fiesta stack or whatever. This sounds like the ice cream man has come and he's got this summertime flake. That's what I'm thinking in my head. Like 99, but it's got all this color coming out of it. And I'm like, yes, I want that. And then you ruin it and you're like, no, it's Coke. And I'm like, okay, I just ruined it. There's a nicer picture in my head. Summertime flake.
I mean, the name.
It just sounds
flake
Bolivia. Like I'm thinking color. I'm thinking expression. I'm thinking a carnival in Brazil. Like I'm just thinking is like.
You really haven't.
I've seen that. It's fine there. Does it mention Bolivia in there? I don't think he does. Anyway.
I mean, I'm assuming they must get some of it out of there, but okay.
It's just terrible, isn't it? So to honor the Queen passing, here's some drugs.
It is, but then I can see. Well, I'm not defending them here, but they're capitalizing on a marketing opportunity, aren't they? Because they're prime people who they're selling to. Think about it. A gram of coke is 150 quid. Sorry, no, that's wrong. An ounce of weed is 150 quid. Grams of ketamine are 30 quid. So if you're offering a discount and that's your main target market, the upper class people who are likely going to be feeling the pain of it, if anything, they've seized on the opportunity, haven't they?
So you're saying what really what they should have done is they should have put like a hashtag or an at and just added the Royals and be like, listen, if you're feeling it, you just want to not feel it, then we
if you're feeling
we can get you sorted with some
if you
gear.
don't want to feel it anymore, come and see me. Right.
Just hustlers, man. Hustlers gonna be hustlers. That's it.
Yeah. But this is the flip side, isn't it? This is the other side of the PR side of the world, which is underground marketing, which you have no outrage on, and you can capitalize whenever you feel like it. You don't get any flack
because no one sees it.
There you go.
Like you
Something
said,
to lighten the mood a little bit there.
Do you want to light a story as well?
People gotta make their money somehow. All right. Go on.
I had my first teeth whitening session. Your video is gone. You still there?
No, I'm still there. I can hear you. Go on.
Just make sure it's recording on your side then. So, what's funny? The kicker is, right? So, remember we had the talk about massage lady and I kept calling her Jade. This lady's named lady was actually Jade. So I had a Jade. I don't know what it is about Jades, but Jade came. And,
Of course it was.
So it's, have you had this done before?
Teeth whitening. I think I've done it before, a couple of times. Actually, no, I haven't done teeth whitening. I've done polishing.
Right. Okay. So this was, she told me like loads of different things. She's like, look, there's staining and there's discoloration. And she took this like really close-up picture of my teeth before and showed me. And she was like, yeah, it's not stained, but it is discolored. But, obviously this is your whole life. She's talking about coffee and, you should use straws, which I do for other kind of like staining drinks. And so I've had the first session. It was like an hour. It's so hard killing the time, man, the 20 minutes. You're sitting there with these glasses on, your eyes are closed. You've got this like weird blue light over your teeth. The gel's on. And you just don't move. And you can't fall asleep either though. But so the first 20 minutes, I had like music on. I was like, nah, this isn't working, man, because I don't know how long I've got left. I need some sort of sense of that. So the last one, I just put a podcast on. And I was like, oh, this is much better, because now I'm just listening to the podcast. And then that's it, time was up. But I will keep you posted. So I got my second session in a couple of weeks. She said with 2 sessions, you can change 7 shades of white. So yeah, there you go. If you're thinking about teeth whitening, it's not painful. I had it done at home, so there is a mobile option for this. I think my main concern was not going like Ross level, glow in the dark white. I think that was the main concern. Yeah. Oh, you're back now, video. Yeah. And I was like, is this going to happen? She's like, no, don't really. Yeah.
That's everyone's concern.
No, I don't like that. That's just weird. And then, I'm just looking at myself now. Like the flashes you get on my teeth now. Yeah, look quite good. It does look good, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. But it looks quite good with that white light on anyway.
I need to walk around with these white lights on. Going to get you a new job. Just follow me around with lights on.
Yeah, man. Follow you with lights.
You light me up,
right,
baby.
Next segment. So I've been told I have to go first for Confessions of a Married Man. I don't like this. I feel like it's all on me now to do
makes a change, doesn't it? Viewers, what you don't know, is this little guy.
What you don't know,
Obviously not. Yeah, what you don't know, bro. Like, I'm gonna tell you, is he just messaged me, like constantly, and like he'd be saying like, so what's your content for this week? Yeah, what's your confession? Like, what's your doctor story? I said, listen, mate, it doesn't work like that. Like, if it happens, it happens. If it don't happen, it don't happen, innit? How about you come up with a story, innit? Like, yeah,
I do.
That's quite good.
I do come up with the story every time. When have I ever come up short for you?
You do. You come up with a doctor story, okay?
Doctor, I was at a wedding reception on Saturday. I had 10 minutes to myself, and I thought,
here we go.
What's content for next week? And I thought, here's one.
Good lad.
Play Bhangra bingo or Bhangra musical bingo, whatever you want to call it, with your missus at a wedding reception, and you'll have a really good time. So, backstory.
Right, so before you tell me, let me guess Go on. Backstory, go.
So backstory is you play to 16, you choose 16 songs, go into the wedding, first person to hit 16 wins.
Right.
Now, obviously, you can't pick the same songs as one another. You can have some overlap, which is fair, but there's got to be some that you
No,
like.
but as in,
have
you don't teach us
outliers.
lists, so...
Yes.
As in, no, but if you're making lists on your own, for example, you're both going to have Thin Peg on there. You're going to have Hostel on there, both of you.
You can.
No, but as in, then do you go back and change it then because you've got too many of the same?
Sort of. You can do, yeah. Obviously, if it's 16 the same, then yeah, that's a bit awkward, isn't it? But we just chose random ones.
Okay.
I at the beginning of the wedding, I was 3 for 3. The first 3 songs they played were the first 3 I called. I was like, yes. I didn't get it in chronological order, but I was like 3 for 3. I think at the end of it, I got like, I didn't do all 16 in the end. I think I have 14. I got 1, 2, 3.
That's pretty good.
I got 9 out of 14. Yeah.
Wait, what?
I got 9 out of 14.
You said
I
you
didn't
had
have
16?
enough time to write down 16 songs, but the concept is that I made up 16
Got
songs.
it. So you had 14 in
Right.
total. Right. And how many sounds did you get?
I think she had 16 or 14. I can't remember. But she stopped counting. I was like counting.
And how
in my
many
head.
did
I
she
was like, Yep. She didn't tell me, but I'm assuming she got like 7 or 8. However, I feel like we could make this catch on.
Right.
So let us know if you think that we should make this catch on, because I feel like we definitely can. But yeah, that's one to play with your missus / person you go to a wedding with, because you're like, bingo, bam, called it.
See, this is like, so you're playing this game when you're having starters or when you're not dancing,
you're
you're playing it? Or...
during on the dance floor. So if you're on the dance floor and you hear it, you're like, I wrote this on my list, bam, because you know the ones you've written down, isn't it? Like you have a rough idea, and you hear some that you missed completely, and you're like, oh, should have put that one down. Ooh,
how did I not put it on my list? Right.
It's fun.
Depends on the crowd as well. Depends on the DJ.
It does depend on the crowd.
You get some DJs.
Sure.
I went to some events recently. Well, you went to an event, didn't you? I don't know if you talked about it on the podcast where you said the DJ was so bad and you were like downloading songs for him to play.
Oh shit! I never told this story,
Remember?
did I? All right. So my mate, I'm not going to say her name because she might not want to be mentioned, but it was a Muslim wedding, and Muslim weddings are a little bit different in the sense that you don't know if the dancing is allowed to happen or not. And the bride and groom themselves don't know if the dancing is going to happen or not.
They don't know.
Towards the end. They can do a first dance, they can cut a cake and sit down, and we're like, what's happening? And they're like, we don't know. So you have to sit there and wait in anticipation of what's going to go down. Now at this party...
But as in you just eat, no? Like it's just a sit down dinner, no? Isn't that the...
Yes. But then we're like, are we going now, or are we waiting to hold back to let the rave begin?
Got
the people that, you know, have 50% of people come for the food and then leave, are they going to leave? Are they the ones holding back the fun? You're not sure.
And then you can really carry on. Got it.
Then you can carry on. So we're at the venue. We've all eaten our food and we're waiting. We're like, what's going to happen? And we're like, okay, there is going to be dancing. We're like, okay, cool. This is nice. It's good to know. Again, we don't get this at Punjabi weddings. This is the opposite. You're pressured to dance. At a Muslim wedding, it's a bit like, ooh, if you dance, take your opportunity. It might not be there.
Would you like to? Yeah.
You
You got to create the chances.
Yes.
Imagine DJ says that. So, we're going to open the dance floor now, and if you'd like to dance, then that would be absolutely cracking. Right now, compare that to Punjabi wedding. Right, we're not going to start the dancing. You know, they keep repeating the start of the song until you get all on the dance floor. Right, where's the groom's family? Who's here from Birmingham? If you're here from Birmingham, you need to be on the dance floor now. Let's do all this stuff, and then you get to the dance floor. I think we need to restart the song. Yeah, let's restart the song. Let's play it another 10 times. Punjabi wedding. They're so aggressive. They're so aggressive, aren't they? Right,
yeah,
so you had a very
true.
tame thing. So you weren't sure, and you were on edge, and obviously you love dancing, so you were like, yeah, baby.
You know what? I don't love it, but I like seeing everybody else dancing and having a good time. I'm like, cool, I can vibe with this. I have fun with that. Obviously,
Listen,
I don't like
there are two things
You know I
I
don't
have to
like
say.
doing moves.
You don't like doing moves, but you do love dancing. And the second thing, this is for Sanj. If you don't know Indy, then you must know this. Indy is in fashion. You may carry on.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Anyway, continue on. So, what happened? So the DJ starts playing songs, and about 5 songs in,
Right.
he's looped the same song twice. And I'm like...
It's like, I've got through my whole playlist.
I swear to God, he gone through his playlist, because I'm like, bruv, this started 15 minutes ago and you're playing the first song again. What have you done? And he's looking there, and I'm looking at this guy, and he is sweating.
More than he must have been in there.
He is profusely sweating. And he's turned up in like...
But is he sweating because he didn't expect? Yeah.
He's not turned up in smart attire. He's turned up in a jumper, right? And he's turned up in joggers. And I'm thinking, you weren't the main guy, were you? Your Bhangra clearly
he's the subcontracted DJ.
Thinking it's a Muslim wedding. They're not going to dance. You play a few background songs, you're good to go. He didn't expect that pressure.
Yeah. Right.
So his combination of songs made no sense. 1 minute he's playing like very new and latest. Next minute he's playing Dola Jagiro Da. And I'm like, that didn't work at all. Then he played Punjabi MC Mundi at the Bajki. I'm like, yo, what are you doing? Like,
to be fair, that's a banger. You can play at any point. You can play at any point.
Man. That should be.
But I do agree. This kind of new old thing. PMC Mundi the Bajki is wicked, man. When it drops on the floor, that start bit, everyone goes crazy. The best, but what I enjoy is when Harvey mixes it with Dre, still Dre, and then I'm like, this is lit, man. I'm happy. Yeah, I'll tell you what does piss me off. This is not a confession that I'd planned. But when you put bloody Malkeet Singh on Chalahun, Bhangra, I'm like, look, we're doing it, man. I don't need a song to tell me to do what I'm already doing. It just pisses me off. And that song is about 20 minutes long. Just keep saying the same bloody phrase. I'm like, this song is so old. Who listens to this? That Darshan, Ajit Khushiyan that does marathon songs.
Good, man. Fuck off. Leave Darshan out. B21 ends Birmingham, never cuts.
No. Listen. No. Darshan is a great song. My point is this. When it starts and you hear the like, oh, everyone's like, ooh, like, we love it. But when you're 3-4 verses in and it's just going on, you're like, where is it going, man? Yeah, okay. No one has the capacity now. You know this.
Yeah.
30 seconds, man, like a minute max. The way Diljit makes songs, like your attention span, our attention span, I don't know what they used to do back in the day, man, when they only had like 5 songs to listen to. That's why they used to be on the floor doing snake dancing. There used to be weddings where women didn't come, it was just men. Men used to turn up and men used to do the snake dance and shit. So, yeah, man. So this dude, right, so you got this young dude, presuming he's young.
So this guy's sweating. He's fully shitting himself, right? And the bride is looking at him like, you're fucking this up. The bride's sister goes up to him and says, what you doing? And he says to her, I've got problems on my computer. It's not working properly. And I'm like, you're chatting shit. You clearly do not have the songs, do you? Right? So what he did was he had to make an announcement saying, a few technical difficulties. Just give me 10 minutes. I'm just going to sort some stuff out and then it'll be good to go. And I'm sitting there like, wow. Now, one of the guys there went up to him and said, all right, you're clearly struggling. Play some Diljit. Play this song. He's like, I've not got that. And I'm thinking, you don't have any of these songs.
I've not got it, or I've not heard of the song.
I think one of them he said, I've not heard it. And then one of them he said he hadn't heard it, but then all of a sudden it started magically playing 10 minutes later. And I was like, oh, that's convenient. So Sanj had to go up to him and she had to stand next to him for 15 minutes and say, right, download this song, download this song. Gave him a list to download. Eventually he had a couple things going, then he looped it back up. He had to cut the music at one point because he was drowning so badly. Because he was drowning so badly, we started doing flipping bully on the dance floor to keep things going. That's how bad it got.
Yes.
I felt so sorry for the bride and groom, and they were fuming. And at the end, they basically said, we're getting a refund tomorrow, man. We can't be having this. So, yeah, he firmly got wrathed, basically.
This also comes down to, like, look, when you're doing a wedding, you're doing someone close to your wedding, you have a meeting with the DJ. You don't just book a DJ. You book the DJ, you sit with them, you tell them what's the first dance going to be, what's the entrance going to be, what's the cake going to be, how are we going to do it, what's the vibe you're going for. Like, you do all this attention to detail, baby. Come on.
I did that on mine, but I got given the sideman last minute. Now, luckily for me, the sideman was okay. He could DJ. It was fine, right? But I asked for the main guy.
At your house?
Yeah,
At your
I
house?
asked for the main guy,
Oh.
and he swapped this other guy in the last minute. I'm like, what the fuck's this? Right, but he
I
held it
can't
down.
remember.
So I was
But
like, you know what,
I do
can't
remember your
complain.
DJ. Yeah.
Yeah, so
He was
that
good.
was fine.
I remember he came up to us
Now,
afterwards.
yeah, but after that, if you obviously pay for the main guy and you get a rookie who's never done this before, it's not a good look. Not a good look. So yeah, that was my long-winded confession. On to you, mate.
So I was driving to work today, not having had a confession, and the pressure of you constantly asking me, "Have you got a confession? You got a confession? You got a confession?" And then the confession
Every
manifested
week.
itself.
It's not even a surprise.
in front of
It's
me.
like, Karan, I asked you to do like
Yeah.
management homework.
Yeah,
Like I was saying,
it's not 5 minutes because it has to come to you. You can't think about these things. It's just I have to think about what's happening in my week, and sometimes there aren't things that piss me off, and then I'm just forcing myself to get pissed off. Maybe that's why she asked me. She's like, "Why are you pissed off?" I was like, "I need to get in a pissed off mood so I can be pissed off about something for the podcast."
There you go. Got it.
But no, this is completely genuine. So driving to work today, and everyone's trying to get work on time. Now this is 11 o'clock shift, so it's not as much traffic as there would be in the kind of usual conventional 9 o'clock start traffic. And there was a cyclist, right? Generally, I don't have a problem with cyclists. Cyclists. Hats off to them for cycling to work and not using a car like everyone else. And this guy just, it's like he had no, what's the word? There's no purpose to his riding. The way he was cycling, he was like, he had nowhere to be. Time was standing still, and he was just doing this like getting.
He was on a leisurely stroll, was he?
So you couldn't even. Yeah, no, but he didn't, but he didn't look like he was just. He looked like he was going to work. So he had the appearance of that, but he had no like get up and go about it. And he's doing this like maneuvery thing, and it's obviously so you can't go around, and there's cars parked either side, and there's oncoming cars. So you're limited by this guy. And I'm looking at the pavement, and the pavement's completely empty. And I'm like, listen, a cycle is not a vehicle. Absolutely not a bloody vehicle. Why are you on the road? If there is no one on the pavement, get your ass on the pavement. Because if you're on the pavement and a pedestrian comes, you're concerned you might hit them and you're going too fast. It's very easy. You can stop, dismount, walk a little bit, get back on your bike.
Can I
There's no business of a cyclist. Yeah, go on.
Cyclists are supposed to be on the road, not on the pavement at all times.
No, I know it's the law, and no, I know that. It just does not seem safe for them. It's frustrating for us. There's no reason they shouldn't be on the pavement. I don't. What's the reason? Tell me why. Why shouldn't they be on the pavement?
Because that's a danger to pedestrians. Cyclists can go into pedestrians and really hurt.
No, but that. Oh, yeah, if they're going fast, and this is my point. It's very easy. You see a pedestrian, you get off your bike, you walk. Very easy.
Or they.
We have to think about stopping the flow of traffic. It's not safe for them.
Yeah.
It's not safe. Okay. Oh shit. If you're gonna stand, oh shit.
So triggered, he's coughing, man.
Right there. Yeah, man. If you're gonna stay on the road, you need to be so tight to that red line, that yellow line, that I can't see you. You need to be stuck to it. Don't go in like you're bloody Lance Armstrong and I'm your backup support vehicle. I'm the support car going behind you. This is what they think. Like they're leading the pack. It's like bloody Tour de France, and I'm there like just, yeah, you okay? You okay?
So,
not on, man.
The reason why they don't ride too close to the pavement is because of potholes. And if you think about drainage systems,
bloody everything. Bloody pothole. Look at you coming to the defense of the bloody cyclists.
I'm telling you the truth.
You're an undercover
Val's
cyclist.
A cyclist, so he tells
he tell me the truth.
Because I asked him.
I knew. That's
all
it.
These thoughts you've had, I've already had. See? I'm merely here to assist you with your thoughts. Okay.
In what? In the transition, and process my anger. Yeah.
Yeah, I am. So basically, at the end of
I didn't put
either side of a
cyclist
pavement, whenever there's a pavement, right, you have drainage either on one side or the other. It's never on both, I think. So on one side, if you're riding too close to the side of the road or to the yellow lines as you would like them to, they could potentially dip into there and really hurt themselves and come off their bike. There's that. Also, going downhill on a bike is extremely fast. Like, you could clatter into someone very quickly. They can hit up to speeds of 30, 35 miles an hour if done correctly, depending on the bike, depending on your attire. So for them to slow down and dismount quickly on a pavement is not possible. You're just going to clatter into someone because pedestrians walk out wherever they are. Now, the new highway code was up to date a few weeks ago. I saw an article on the BBC News about it. It says the highway code's been updated and a lot of people don't know
riveting.
this. It's true because I didn't know this, and the stat was
which
code's
part?
been updated, and a lot of people don't know. Us being drivers, we're supposed to take a lot more responsibility for what other people do in less able vehicles. That includes cyclists. So they're giving more rights to cyclists.
Cycle is not a vehicle.
Cool. I'm just telling you.
If you're going to do it, right? If you're going to do it, I like what I've seen in London, where the road is widened sufficiently to allow the normal flow of traffic with specific cycle lane.
I can tell you.
No, but it's better than what we have here, man.
It's not. It's not.
No, I don't.
In London, it's absolutely.
But the concept makes more sense to me. Because
there's more traffic, more congestion, more cars, more accidents. There's way more cycle accidents in London with cycle lanes compared to anywhere else outside the UK. That's
fine.
That's not
that's not my concern.
And they have their own.
My concern is when I want to drive.
Congested.
When I want to drive at 30 miles an hour and I'm limited by cyclists, that's just not on, man. You're.
Man.
It's like being on a motorway. No, that's what I'm saying. But it's not safe to do so because the road is not allowed because I'm the other cars and all this stuff. And this guy's just doing his little Lance Armstrong bloody thing. And then it's rude to horn at him. And it's like, bro, you should know, man. You little mirror thing. Look at the traffic behind you. If you're on a motorway, if you're doing a driving, a driving test or a driving lesson, you get marked down, don't you, for driving too slow. You're cycling too slow. You need to get some nitro on that bike. Right,
Actually,
you're obstructing the flow of traffic.
You get marked down for driving too slow if there's a chance to overtake. Because I failed my driving test for doing this once. So yeah, don't.
You got a major for that.
I got a major for overtaking a bus. So basically, the bus in front of me had pulled over and it had stopped. It was letting passengers off, so I indicated to go round. But then the bus took off.
Sounds appropriate.
I had to stop, and then I had to pull back in, and I was like, failed. And he said, I didn't fail you for attempting to overtake. He said that wasn't your fault. I failed you for misleading signals. I was like, but I had to signal to get around him. But yeah, technicality. And the bus driver didn't signal to get off. He carried on. So I was like, right, that really did me over. So there we go.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, I rolled backwards in my first driving test.
Nice.
And failed. Yeah.
No clutch control.
Same test, roll backwards. Yeah, and then had to put the handbrake up. So roll backwards, did the reverse around the corner and ended up on the other side of the road.
Oh my God.
Here's how naive I was. I got to the end of the test thinking, oh, it's just a few minors. And the guy was like, yeah, so you've, listen, he goes like this, he goes, yeah, so you didn't say you failed. He goes, you've not passed the test. And I heard you've passed the test. And I was like, I've passed the test. And he's like, no, you failed. It's just like, oh shit, this is bad.
Oh my God!
I was like so much shock. I was so much shock here. I was like, so why did I fail? It's like, well, there's a lot of things, aren't there? He goes, but just the headlines. You've rolled backwards. I was like, okay. He's like, you reversed. You know what's funny? I actually remember this. I'm thinking about it. When I was reversing around the corner, he was doing this thing where he kept constantly looking, as if, and then looking at me to be like, do you know where you are? Like, you're on the other side of the road. Like, it's so bad that I have no words. Like, it was that kind of like, kind of look he had in his face. I'll never forget that. And it was fun. It was not funny. It wasn't even interesting. It was one of the things where, because I've done so well academically in school, I wasn't used to failing a lot of things. So I didn't take that very well.
It showed there. And, it really showed there, mate. That definitely showed in that explanation. Oh my God. Yeah. And I get in a car with you willingly. My second
attempt, right? Like, really nice instructor, really cool, smashing it. Had no minors. Got to a roundabout, and somebody was coming round the roundabout. So I'm here. They're coming round the roundabout. They've indicated to get for this exit before. Okay. So I've pulled out, as you would. This guy has changed his mind, not turned off his indicator, has come round. Instructor has to do emergency brake. Fail.
Done. When they do
No
that,
fault
done.
my own. He said at me and he was just like, it's not your fault. So that, right, got home, booked again. Third time, I started blackmailing this guy. I was like, listen, I need the car because I need to visit patients. Patients are very important. These people can't get out of the house. I was saying all this stuff to them. And yeah, I passed that one.
So you
Third
guilt
time.
tripped him into
How many
giving
times
you
did you take a
a
bus?
pass.
Absolutely, man.
Oh my God.
No shame in that. No shame.
I took my test twice. That's it.
Yeah, good.
Thank you. Thank
You're
you for
superior
that.
to me. You
You feeling of
are a
superiority.
cyclist.
I'm not. I
You're a
just know how
cyclist.
to cycle correctly. Thank you very much.
No, Bal, get Indy into cycling. He clearly wants to do it. I'll be the driver
I've
behind
been
him.
cycling with him. I know his habits. I've done it. Yeah.
Have you?
Yeah.
Have you?
Yeah.
Like as in leisure cycling or like on the road cycling?
On the road cycling, like pedaling hard, because he got really into it during
Yeah,
lockdown.
yeah,
He
yeah.
still cycles a lot now. But me, I joined him a couple of times, and he bombs ahead of me. I can't keep up with him. So yeah,
He's Lance Armstrong and he gets competitive. Tour de
tries to be,
France.
man. I like to call him Bowser
Tour de-
because like
Tour
he's
de
just
Sutton.
powering through, man.
Bowser.
Bowser, man, 100%.
Just lapping you like
Bowser,
this.
whatever you want to call him, man.
You know what makes me feel? Do you know in Captain America when he's like
Yeah.
on your right, your right, he's like lapping him.
Yeah, that's him. That's him.
It's like that.
Just lapping me if you wanted to on your right, and I'm like, thanks, cheers.
Yeah.
All right, dead the segment.
Like I'm here
Move
just
on.
have a good time. Okay.
Next bit. All right, Karan. So, I've got a confession lead segue for you. I had a discussion with my father-in-law on the weekend as to what's a good blood pressure rating to have, and luckily this week you're going to tell me about.
You
blood
have
pressure.
many discussions with
Not
your
many.
father-in-law.
He was just telling me what his blood pressure is.
I think a better segment is just talking about you, and a better segment would be a recording of Indy's blood pressure while driving while his father-in-law's in the car. Now
I don't think that my blood pressure would
that
fluster
would
too
be,
much. I don't think I would. I don't get flustered. I just get annoyed.
Oh, bro, I think, yeah. What do you think that does for blood
But
pressure? Goes up.
Shit. All right. You're correct.
No, we need some data on this baby. Right, Sanjay's gonna hook you up. Right, we're gonna do this. Secret blood pressure monitoring. You got to make sure your father-in-law doesn't know, right? So like under your jacket or something, and just record your vitals, like your blood pressure, your heart rate, your pupil size. Oh,
Thanks,
this would be
man.
excellent,
Anyway, blood pressure ratings. What's a good
So-
blood pressure? Go on.
That's the first. I will come to that. That's the first important thing. Blood pressure can be affected by many things. Being scared, being unwell, being stressed. These things can make your blood pressure fluctuate. So think of blood pressure more like a yo-yo. It goes up and down. At no one time will your blood pressure be the same. So no one reading is important. That's the first thing. A lot of people come in hospital on the back of one high reading. Means nothing. So before, the way GPs used to diagnose high blood pressure was used to take 3 random readings. That's all we used to do. Now we fit a box on you that takes blood pressure for 24 hours. It takes about 600-700 recordings every like 15 to 30 minutes. And then it takes an average. And what that's trying to do is, so you have your normal working day, you have your periods where you're at work, not at work, with friends, sleeping. So it's trying to get a good, picture and idea of all facets of your life. Is it just some points in the day where your blood pressure is high, but your average is still then okay? Or is it consistently and constantly high? So that's the first thing. So now here's the thing about blood pressure. So unless your blood pressure is super high, I'm talking like your top numbers like more than 180, 190, 200, then you may not have any symptoms. So kind of that mid-range of high blood pressure. So again, top number wise, let's say 150, 160. Bottom number, anything more than 90. 90 is kind of the magic number for GPs. Anything more than 90 at the bottom is kind of considered potential high blood pressure or hypertension, as we call it. And at that level, you're not going to have any symptoms, right? Only at the very, very high levels can you have headaches, loss of vision, nausea, vomiting, difficulty walking. Very, very high, obviously, super high blood pressure that's been there for a while can lead to a stroke, heart attack, kidney failure, blindness. So, but those are very extreme things. But this kind of mid-range thing, initially, you won't have any symptoms. And the problem with that is that when you tell people they have high blood pressure, they're like, really? I don't feel unwell. Then you give them a tablet. The tablet doesn't make them feel any better because it didn't feel
Doesn't the
unwell at the
tablet
start
come with side
anyway.
effects as well?
So they don't see the
Probably
point of
makes feel
it. So they're
worse.
not compliant with their medication. Yeah, that's true. So you can have side effects. So one of the most common blood pressure tablets is something called amlodipine, which is a calcium channel blocker. Will give you can give you swelling of your feet. Or ramipril, which is an ACE inhibitor, can give you a dry cough. So yeah, you're right. So you can either have no effect or have a side effect. You're like, well, I had nothing to begin with, apart from this number, which I don't know if is high or not high. And now I'm on this tablet. Now, what I say to people, because often some of the work I do is screening-based medical work. And if I find someone with suspected high blood pressure, I'm like, look, the best thing you can do, because it's going to be hard to see your GP just for blood pressure, like it's just not, no, it's not that it's not sexy enough. It's like GP appointments are so rare. So like the complexity, what's needed in GP appointments is so high now that this kind of blood pressure checking is kind of been outsourced now to pharmacies and kind of other settings like that. I literally say, look, hey, give me a phone, give me Amazon. I'm going to find you a blood pressure machine. It's like £5. Take your own blood pressure, get your own readings. If you come to any medical setting, so before an operation or for a job which requires you have a medical assessment, you've got your own readings. I'm going to use those readings. They're much more accurate. You've taken them in your own kind of place of comfort. You're not stressed. You're not worried.
No reason to give me a scheme.
Because one thing that can happen is something called white. Yes, and we call that effect white coat hypertension. Coined because in the past doctors used to wear white coats. Patients would see the white coat, they get scared, blood pressure goes high. So it's not really high, but looks high. So to give you an example, my dadi, my grandmother, her blood pressure is 120/64. So she has like better than textbook blood pressure. 83 years old, super fit. Her secret is basically she walks like 3 miles every day, and she lived in an age kind of before McDonald's and that kind of stuff. So she just eats what she makes. Now, if I take her to your hospital for an appointment, she has blood pressure there, more than 200. The same lady just does not like it. And I always tell her, I was like, look, it's going to be high. So one reading in itself, not a problem. What we have to be mindful of in a developed country like we are in England, America, Canada, places like that, is chronic disease. So things like high blood pressure and diabetes are the real killers for us. So in the past, we died from things like pneumonias and heart attacks and things like that, but our management of these acute conditions, these emergency conditions, has got a lot better. You have a heart attack, you might have a stent put in, you don't die, you carry on. But these things like blood pressure and diabetes, they are the things that need to be controlled. It's like I said, you're not going to feel any benefit, but what you're doing is by being on this medication and controlling that blood pressure, you're offsetting the risk of, kidney failure, blindness, risk of stroke. So all these things are super, super important. And blood pressure is, the cornerstone of that. I think in the UK, once you get to the age of 50, you start having these Wellman checks, which is kind of like once a year, see your GP, have a blood pressure, height, weight, have some blood tests done. We screen you for diabetes. We screen you for cholesterol. So what we call the cardiovascular risk factors. We live in a society now where we're not really hunter-gatherers anymore. We're much more sedentary. I'm happy that my job involves me walking around and having to see things. I imagine you do that a little bit as well, or was it just all computer-based?
But I make a point of going for a walk minimum every day, and I have to exercise at least 3 times a week. Otherwise, I don't feel good.
Good lad.
So yeah.
Good. So you're making a conscious effort. I think that's the point, isn't it? I think whereas our ancestors they had it built into their day, and I know, like, for example, on Saturday we went to Cannock Chase and we did a lot of walking, and then we went out for dinner afterwards. And it felt like we'd earned our dinner. We'd done a lot of walking around. We don't have that unless you build it in, and because of that sedentary, these chronic diseases creep in. And you think about it, so it's all to do that we eat too much, so we have way too much convenience, and we just don't exercise. Diabetes is the product of that. So, yeah, it's really simple. I had a lady come in today actually with high. She woke up in the morning, she felt a bit hot, took her blood pressure was high, carried on, kept taking her blood pressure all day, but worrying and thinking about it, kept getting higher and higher and higher. She's on a blood pressure tablet. Rang 111 said, please get to A&E. She came to A&E, saw her. I was like, don't worry, it's fine. Blood pressure should come down. We had a good chat. I said, right, for next week, please take blood pressure readings if it's high. see your GP, and they've given a recommendation for how we can tweak your blood pressure tablet. So this stuff really does happen. People do present to hospital. Sometimes we diagnose it for the first time. The thing, I guess, to be mindful of is if you're a young person and you genuinely have high blood pressure. So if you would have high blood pressure, then as opposed to somebody's elderly, when we say they have essential high blood pressure or essential hypertension, which is age-related expected high blood pressure, in someone like you of your age, that would be concerning. Why have you got high blood pressure? What is the underlying cause? There has to be something driving that blood pressure. So then you would be subject to a larger battery of tests to try and work it out. Whereas an elderly person would be like, well, let's just commence them on treatment. It's probably age-related. So that's important when it comes to blood pressure. And the only other important group of people is pregnant people. So we talked about pregnant ladies last week and blood clots. There's a condition. Have you seen Downton Abbey? No. Okay. So one of the characters in Downton Abbey is pregnant and has a complication of pregnancy called eclampsia. There's two conditions, preeclampsia and eclampsia. One of the things that happens in that condition is you start passing lots of protein in your urine and your blood pressure goes super high. And the combination of two things can lead to eclampsia, which is a very, very dangerous condition, which can lead to seizures in the mother and death. That's what happens in the show as well. So high blood pressure in the context of pregnancy can also be very concerning as well. So not something to be ignored. If you've got a machine, and we can talk about your father-in-law in a second. It's just worth doing it every once in a while. So, for example, I do blood pressures on everyone in my family twice a year. So I have like a kind of medical check-in thing I do like twice a year. So I have a chat with them. Are you concerned about anything? Let me take your blood pressure. Make sure you get your eyes checked. And then for mum and dad and like daddy and granny and people like that, I review their blood tests. Make sure you get your blood tests done. They end up going to India for holidays and end up getting blood tests done there as well, and I'll review those. So it's just keeping on top of them. But even at our age, now and again, just doing the blood pressure, not a bad thing.
I guess so. I mean, what's the actual number that you should be looking for then? Like, let's just give like a quick summary. So I'll let you finish your drink. Okay, so quick summary.
Textbook is 120/80.
Okay, so quick summary is gone.
You got to ask me the question,
well, what's
and I'll tell you
normal number
the
that should
answer.
be on the top?
So 120 is textbook top, but that will increase with age. 80, anything above 90 we consider to be high blood pressure.
And how often should you be doing this if you're, I don't know, in your 30s to 50s? 30 to 50, in between 30 and 50.
30s, 50s, twice a year, unless you're getting a high reading.
Okay. And going on blood pressure medicine.
The closer you get to 50, you might go to frequent.
Okay. Going on blood pressure medicine, is that better or worse for you?
Yeah. It depends what you mean by better or worse. Obviously, if it fixes your blood pressure, it's a good thing. From a medical perspective, if you're delaying the onset of certain serious complications.
So, are there side effects associated that make
everything
your
has side
life
effects
worse taking
but you're
it?
trying to no I think look, any tablet can give you any side effect. The problem is not every side effect happens in every person, so it's a bit of trial and error until you get to a tablet that you can tolerate. So that's the important thing. It's where is your tolerance, and then you're trying to be on the smallest dose that gives you the effective output. You don't want to be on the highest dose of everything just because you know it's going to give you the result, but often that can be more harmful. So, for example, you take too much blood pressure medication, you're going to have a low blood pressure, you're going to get dizzy, you're going to pass out. So that does happen sometimes to people. They're over-medicated. So, for example, like we have this often. People come into hospital and we take the observations, oh, bloody hell, blood pressure's really high. And we look at their drug history. Right, there are 4 tablets for blood pressure. And then what happens is, because they're in hospital, we give them the medications. What's happening at home is they're not taking them. So in hospital, they take them all and the blood pressure goes really low. So it's not really high. It's just because they're not taking it. We had a guy come in today with low blood sugars. And then the junior doctor came to us and said, so why is his blood sugar low? And he goes, oh, he takes his insulin, but he just never checks his blood sugar. And I was like, that's great, isn't it? I was like, so his body's having the appropriate response. He's not adjusting his insulin units. He's just taking it. He's like, yeah, insulin. He's not checking his blood sugar, and he comes in when it's like super low because something happens. And I was like, oh, like check sugar, man.
He just needs to get that scanny thing that Sanchez has. What's it called? The Freestyle Libre.
Welcome to the NHS. And the scanny thing. Yeah. Funding, baby, funding.
Get it on your prescription, man.
Not everyone's from London, you know. Everyone's posh like you guys. You guys are too posh. You got access to all these things that people, commoners, don't have in West Midlands. That's what it is. Yeah, mate. That's right. Upgraded yourself, didn't you?
I didn't upgrade
Moved to
myself
London.
at all.
Yeah,
It's on prescription.
got all the access to all the premium stuff. Oh yes, you did.
One day, one of us
you
might
moved
need
to
use
London
it,
with
so
on
it's good that
prescription.
we know the technology is better than what it used to be when it comes to checking your blood sugar.
Absolutely.
It'll be you first, me second. Thank you.
Well, yeah, absolutely. Because you play so much pro basketball, you're obviously immune to the effects
cricket,
of diabetes,
football,
aren't you?
tennis.
Of course.
Everything. Mastery, indeed. Mastery.
No football. I've never mentioned
But you
football.
wish you could. To hand that right, wanna be Dr.
That's
J.
true. It is bad. I've just signed up to 2 new sports. Oh, you call me Dr. J. I'm taking up fencing and archery. So yeah.
Because the current ones you do ain't enough, innit?
There we go. It's not that they're not enough. I think you get to a point where you're like, I'm not going to get any better, and that's fine. Like, I'm at a good level of badminton. I enjoy it. I don't get to play it all the time, but it's like you'll know this because you talk about it in the gym, you know, like the initial bit. You get the growth, and then you get the diminishing returns, the incremental, the very small incremental growth. When you kind of reach that and things, you're like, well, actually, what I enjoy is this. You plateau, yeah. So you enjoy the initial thing. So I'd rather do more things where I can have that. You know, I had something great here, Indy, yesterday. I'll tell the listeners as well. The secret of living is growing and giving. I was like, wow, it blew me away, man. It might be the fact that it rhymes a little bit, but the secret of living is growing and giving. I give my time to you, and in turn, I grow.
This is not a self-help podcast, man. I feel like you're turning it into that.
This
Two quotes
absolutely,
in one flipping podcast.
absolutely.
Much,
people
man.
want to feel good. I know. I'm just feeling it today. That reminds me. Tell the listeners, and please give a shout out to the lady that reached out to you who didn't remember my name, and just specifically for the lady, my name is Dr. Jazz.
His name's Karan.
Yes.
Don't get it twisted.
That's a very, very nice message, and it definitely made my day.
It's
Dr. J.
The lady's name is Barinder.
You're like, it's not that fan.
So she basically DM'd us saying, how
what
do
did
you
Barinder say?
listen to the podcast online? Because she listens audio at the moment. I said, jump onto YouTube, follow the link tree on our bio, have a look. I said, out of interest, how did you get into this? And she said she stumbled across it. So that was very nice to hear. Thanks for listening, and we genuinely appreciate your support, man. And DMs like that are always welcome. If you ever want to shoot us one and let us know you're still alive and kicking, we see the numbers, we know you're listening, we just don't know who it is. So please tell us, that'd be really great. And we can make some adjustments from there and give you guys shout outs like how we have done here. So yeah, cheers for listening, Brenda. Wade, hello, Sassigal. All right,
thank you.
Last segment, go. Final point. Obviously, wedding season's done now. Everyone's been to their weddings, come and gone.
We have one to go to.
I'm happy for you. Anyway, so...
No, you're not.
Wedding season's pretty much done now, right? It's September.
Yeah.
So we're happy. It's good. Everything's all
We are
pretty
happy.
much wrapped up now. Now, destination weddings are getting bigger and bigger. And obviously, people you know are just getting married more and more. We're at that age where it's all happening. It's all cracking off. Now, the question comes, if you do a destination wedding or a wedding where you are in a place that not many people are from that you're inviting, how much of that should you accommodate for or give hospitality to? Now, it's a
Are you
topic that I've seen
specifically...
because-
Go on.
am I specifically...
Are you specifically talking about how much should be covered financially? Is that what you mean? Or
I'm not saying financially. Actually, it could be financially, how much you feed them, etc. Because if you're like the other side of the world and you're expecting people to come out there and cover a lot of their own expense as well on top, you're probably going to get a lower return on people coming, which is probably what they're after and why they're doing it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, there is like a bit of a middle where you have to try and make things sort of match up. And I'm just thinking, is there a bit of a discussion there to be had and figure out, is there like a sweet spot that guests understand you're going to be covering them a little bit, and you understand if you want people there that maybe couldn't make it normally, you're going to have to help them get there as well, or give them a place to stay, or cover some food, whatever it is.
Yeah, I think I'm just thinking about the two. I think I've been to 2 destination weddings. First one was one of my dad's friends. That was in Rome. So Europe. That was one where it's like we knew it was happening, so it was like, well, you're not just going to go for that. You're not close enough where you're just going to go for that and then do other things. You might as well make a holiday of it. So for us, it was more as a holiday, and then we're attending a wedding, so we were going to go anyway, so we didn't think about the outlay of that. What ended up happening though, actually, we had the closest hotel to the venue. Like even the family went there. We're like walking distance from the thing. So we covered that, and then obviously the hospitality at the wedding is expected. You'd have that in the UK as well, though, all the food and things. And then I had another close friend's wedding. That was in Portugal. That was one of my friends from school. Shout out to Raj and Groups. And yeah, so essentially what they had done is they had signposted like, okay, this is where the wedding's going to be. This is what where we recommend you stay. These events are going to be happening, and on these events, there's going to be food essentially. And again, like there was a group of us from school, so we just kind of did organize everything else around that. There was no kind of expectation as such. But I think it's different when you're friend level as well. You don't really expect, because you're like, my friends are getting married, the focus on them. We don't want to give them stress by asking them like lots of questions and things. But I think if it's a family thing, then I think there can be expectation. So for example, when I got married, we had a few people coming from abroad, and we made like a little travel pack for them, which was, these are the venues. So you got the normal agenda. This is where you could stay. These are the average nightly rates. Car rental places, things to do in the day, like going to Birmingham and seeing XYZ. So yeah, we put a little thing together, useful information. But I know at the end of the spectrum, you're right. If you go to a far wedding, then you'd expect maybe flight. I don't think flights will ever be covered. That's quite hard to book people's flights as well, isn't it? But people have like hotel rates, don't they, like the wedding rate or something, or they'll cover a couple of nights, say the event. So actually, yeah, good point. This year we were invited to, I think it was Budapest for a wedding. Couldn't go in the end, but it was at the Ritz-Carlton, so really nice, like top level. And
that's expensive, man.
Yeah, very, very, very rich people. Yeah, I think 3 nights were covered, hotel. They were going to give us like 3 rooms, 3 nights.
Jeez.
So that, so that would have been. So I think it does depend on obviously your capacity as well. Obviously at their level, it's doable as well. And you're right. The reason why you're doing a destination wedding, if it is simply to filter out people, then you don't expect people to travel. Europe for us guys here in England is obviously much more achievable.
It is.
Went to Canada actually for a friend's wedding as well, just after our wedding. But again, we incorporated that as part of our honeymoon, so we sorted everything out ourselves. I don't know. I am of yeah, baby, stacked it. I'm of the opinion, if I'm going to someone's wedding, right, and it involves me having to stay somewhere, I never want to ever be dependent on someone to stay. Like unless they're very close, right? So, for example, when my must-see's kids get married, I'd happily stay in their house, no issues, right? But unless it's super close, like I'm going to book a hotel, I want to book my own transportation, I want to know that I'm fully independent, I've got my own space, when I get ready, when you want to leave, we can leave. Food isn't a thing. It's just, I've seen it where it just becomes, it's just extra work obviously for the host as well. And if your level of expectation isn't the same as the host, right? So I've seen it where you've got people who really put out if you were to come to them, and the same people have gone elsewhere and it's not been reciprocated. And I've seen that, like to the point where they've basically just walked out the house and booked their own hotel. So Yeah,
Jeez.
that's my current opinion. Just yeah. What do you think?
I don't know, man. I'm torn because on the one hand, I can kind of see it depends on your financial capacity of the couple and the family if they can afford it and if they can afford to obviously have you stay out there or stay with them. Capacity of the house, all those things. I think negotiating a discounted rate with with a hotel nearby goes a long way because naturally you can think of shuttle cabs going there and back. You can think of setting things up in such a way where it does that. And if you say a shuttle cab service with one company, get an idea of numbers, and maybe I don't know, cover it for the first night, and the second night they can do it themselves, depending on how many nights there is. I think it makes it much more welcoming for guests, especially if it's in a location where maybe they're not well known or if they're elderly. By elderly, I mean in a different country, don't speak the language. They're going to probably struggle a little bit to get around. So doing things like that goes, I think, a very long way. Because if you think about it in England, if you bring it down to if you bring it down a level and you go into a different city, naturally the groom's side would have a coach going to the venue. Coach would then take you to the party. This is back in the day, and obviously when parties and weddings were done on the same day, you know, God, remember those days? What fucking dinosaurs. Anyway, so everything was working on the same day, and then they bring you back home, which makes perfect sense. Nowadays, that's not expected at all. It's you can make your own way there. They will have some kind of coach, but they want to know about numbers, and it probably won't be done for the second day. It's mainly just for the first day. So I understand why parents back in the day just did everything the same day, cost efficient, makes sense. It may not be as enjoyable for the couple, but it's easier to liaise everyone in a big bulk on one day. So yeah, that's my view on it. I think every couple is different. What they want to do is up to them. But I think even just a little bit goes a long way. Even if you aren't that well off, I think having a little bit like negotiating a rate at a hotel would make a big difference to people because they'll be like, oh, okay, you can get a bit of a community vibe going there at the hotel. Like, oh, you're here for the wedding, I'm here for the wedding. You can get to know them, make friends, etc. All those things. It all molds really well if you do it. If you execute it well.
That's a good point. And we had a wedding in where's that place just outside of London, North Mims, St Albans. That's it.
Anyway, somewhere north of London.
Somewhere north. Well, not north. Yeah, St Albans. We had a wedding there, Shindy and I, and booked into, I think it was a Holiday Inn. It's where we were on the groom side, but all the bride side was staying there. But we'd seen them all at the civil wedding anyway, because we were close enough to go to that. So they all knew us anyway, and it was nice, like you said. So when we were coming and going from events, it was like an after party. We were just chilling with those guys. A good vibe downstairs. The following morning, the day after the final event, we had breakfast. We were all there, kind of together. You're right. It was really, really good, nice vibe. So yeah, I echo that sentiment. It was a good vibe.
There we go. Let us know your thoughts in the comments and tell us if you think any different. If you think there should be more given, less given. If there's any point in doing destination wedding, should it be immediate family? Let us know your controversial, flagrant thoughts. I don't mind. I'll read them. I know Karan doesn't. I'll respond though. All right. Drop us a comment, guys. Let us know your thoughts on the episode. Yeah, go on.
You know our shared email address? You've got it synced to your phone, yeah? Or not?
Yes.
Right. Have you read the YouTube emails or not? The comment emails?
No. So the YouTube comment emails, I don't get them. They go to like a social part of the box that I don't get notifications for.
Okay, because I get them all and then I leave them unread thinking that you're going to like see them or something. There's like 7.
I see them when I log into the channel and I see them when I log into the channel and I jump on and
Got it.
upload a video and there's like a notification there.
Perfect, buddy. I'm going to press red to all of them now because I keep seeing it. It's annoying me. I can't have my emails. I can't have boxes showing unread
Delete
emails.
Them out, man. It's fine.
That's fine. You've made my day, man. That's going to clear me out 50%.
You're welcome.
Love it.
You're very welcome.
Love it.
All right. Catch you guys next week. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Much love. See you then. Bye.